Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Glass. Ms. Janice Doyle. Mr. Luchetti.
Here.
Mr. Rulo.
Here.
Mr. Cannon.
Here.
Mr. Costa.
Here.
Mr. Kirby.
Here. Thank you. First agenda item, public may address the Board of Education. We have one person signed up. Jay.
Good evening. At last week's board meeting, in describing Lincoln Way's steadily falling enrollment, it was stated that the district would likely lose 340 students in the next 5 years, dropping total student enrollment to approximately 6,600 by the year 2022. Last Thursday, Dr. Tingley stated that the functional capacity of Central is 3,370 students, matching East of the same number, giving those two schools alone a combined functional capacity of 6,740. This is a copy of the option map as presented by Dr. Tingley in the summer of 2015 when the school closing discussions were taking place. Central is listed as having a functional capacity of 3,150, which is 220 students less than what was reported last week. How did Central's functional capacity magically increase by 220 students out of nowhere? If you combine 3,370 with 3,150 instead, the total is 6,520, quite a difference from 6,740, which brings me to the question, just how does Lincoln Way determine functional capacity anyway? What methods are used? Are they defined by education industry standards? Has an outside consultant ever been utilized to help determine these figures? These numbers have been used over the past 3 years as one of the most critical components in the process that Lincoln Way uses in virtually all decisions made regarding student placement within the Lincoln Way campuses. Certainly, functional capacity can't just be an arbitrary number that can be changed to suit a specific narrative. Moving forward, it is entirely possible that extremely difficult decisions could be made based solely on these numbers presented as truth. As board members, are you comfortable with what you've been told by the administration? Do you know how Dr. Tingley has arrived at these numbers? My next issue pertains to something in the auditor's report in the most recent board packet. In it, the auditor recommends, quote, the district will obtain a third-party appraisal in order to determine the starting cost basis for all of the district's existing assets. At last week's board meeting, Dr. Tingley spoke of pursuing an appraisal on the North Campus. The board moved forward on this, and it has been reported in the news media that a process has been initiated to seek bids for appraisal. My concern is, why only the North Campus? Clearly, the auditor says all of the district assets, not just North. Is there a plan in place to appraise all of the district's facilities? And if so, when will this take place? It seems evident that Lincoln Way is now no longer interested in retaining the North Campus as an asset, but is actively seeking to rid themselves of it, which brings me to my last concern. At last week's board meeting, Dr. Tingley stated the following, quote, Brad has taken some time to determine the estimated cost to cover the price of the outstanding bonds that would be attributed to Lincoln Way North, unquote. Dr. Tingley then goes on to say that in Mr. Kaufman's estimation, it would be, quote, in excess of $100 million. I'm not opposed to creative solutions to our crushing financial situation, but these solutions must be rooted in reality, not speculation. It has long been reported and widely understood that as these bonds are governed by very strict parameters and thus highly restricted in nature, the totality of the funds from the original referendum cannot be separated. The 2006 referendum was for $225 million, and that was for the construction of North and West, along with improvements on Central and East. How can these bonds now be separated and individualized to cover just the North portion? Since this information is being publicized as fact from the district, I would like to know who is counseling Mr. Kaufman of this possibility. I know PMA has been brought in, but this is not just something that can be assumed. It can either be done or it can't. And if we need to see, as Dr. Tingley stated last week, the appraisal received on North's value matches what we owe, then again we are going back to the $100 million mystery number of the North portion of the bonds. which we as taxpayers have always understood to be a lump sum debt that cannot be separated. It is simply contradictory to what we have been informed of all along. If this is no longer the case, please advise us on how this has indeed changed. The entire scenario of selling the north property is completely and totally contingent upon that fact. Thank you.
I'll respond to a couple of those items. First, the functional capacity. I have my notes here. If I did say 3370, these are my notes from last meeting. I did have 3150 written down. Got the total 8720, so 100, 3370, 3150. As we've discussed a number of times, that was determined by going through, counting the students that utilize those buildings. The architect's number for all classrooms is set somewhere around 30. Our special ed classrooms, we educate 12 to 14 students in there. So the functional capacity number is a number that was going room by room as we counted. So the discussion of those numbers is not to determine a plan. The board did not ask me for those numbers to determine any future configuration plan. It was simply, what were those numbers? And as I've said here,
Can't hear you very well.
as I've said here, I've written on my notes 2300, 3370, 3150. As for the auditor, yes, we're working on third-party appraisals. That will be done over the next several years. That's not something that will be done this year. In terms of the bond and bond usage, these are going to be discussions that will occur over the next several months. We are not going to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to move forward unless we have the legal counsel to do so. And those will be discussions that will take place, some publicly, some privately, as we work through this process. However, at this point, nothing other than, would you like us to go to RFQ to determine a price? That's all that's been established. The board has had no discussion at this point other than we will bring back an RFQ to the board for discussion. The board will then give direction in terms of the next step. So I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves if we're already planning a sale of a property. Yes, the bonds are very competitive. We know that. Any sort of leasing, any sort of purchasing, any sort of selling would not be done without bond counsel.
Thank you, Jay. Sure. All right. Next item on the agenda is State of the District presentation. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Dane. Oh, Chris Glass is here.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone for coming this evening. This is our first time doing such an event. This idea was proposed from the Community Relations Group during strategic planning, which began a little over a year ago. The recommendation was, in order to continue to improve community relations, the district should host a State of the District annually. They didn't recommend necessarily how it should look, so we're going to see how it goes this evening, and then we'll look for feedback from the board. Tonight I'll provide a brief overview and some comparisons to other districts. Mr. Brad Kaufman will present a financial overview. Dr. Amy Ferry will present the curriculum and instruction update, and Dr. Murphy will finish with testing and technology. Many of the items discussed this evening were part of the 5-year strategic plan. We'll begin right away with our freshmen. The state of Illinois now uses a number of indicators to measure academic or school district success. We will discuss a few of those this evening. One measurement is freshmen on track. The state has determined that 95% of our freshmen are on track to graduate after year one as compared to 87% statewide. Now, you may say after 1 year, we're losing 5 out of every 100. That seems like a lot. I would agree. Our counselors, teachers, and building administrators have identified those 5% who may have fallen behind. We have processes and procedures in place to ensure that, number one, they don't fall further behind as sophomores, but then number two, they have the opportunity to catch back up. As we know, the sooner we can catch those students back up, the more likely they are to have success moving forward. This next slide and some slides throughout will compare ourselves to the other schools in the Southwest Suburban Conference. As you can see, District 210 rates very high in terms of freshmen on track. Another significant measure is our graduation rate. Over the last 5 years, our graduation rate has increased from 95 to 98%. So within 7 years of starting high school, 98 out of 100 of our students is earning their high school diploma. We are very proud of this statistic. This next slide shows the comparison with other conference schools. Once again, Lincoln Way is at the top of the list. Another measure the state is using is tracking students participating in early college coursework. 51% of Lincoln Way students are enrolled in classes considered to be college coursework. Once again, quite a bit higher than the other schools in our conference. This next slide, this was an initiative of the board about 4 years ago. Increase our AP test takers, increase the number of students enrolled in AP classes, continue to push our students academically. From 2015 to 2017, we've seen an increase of 43% in our AP test takers. Dr. Ferry will talk more about that during her presentation. Once again, another measure from the state of Illinois. It's the percentage of graduating seniors enrolled in a 2- or 4-year college. Over the last 4 years, we've increased this number from 80 to 85%. 85% of our students from 12 to 16 months after they leave Lincoln Way will enroll in a 2- or 4-year college or university. Our job is to provide the skills and opportunities, and that's the direction that they want to go. The next measure is the SAT. The SAT is now the state testing measure. Last spring, our juniors took a state-funded SAT. Those students as freshmen, sophomores, and even on into their junior year were prepared to take the ACT. We prepared for the SAT, but not as vigorously as we did for the ACT. This is a list of results of South Suburban schools. You know, I was disappointed that we were not 1, 2, and 3. Lamont, Plainfield, North snuck in there. Our goal next year when we come back is to be 1, 2, and 3. I think that's very possible. We began to shift our focus last year and move into this year on that SAT because our students are now seeing those tests, 8th grade, freshman, sophomore, and junior year in the fall, so we will continue to move in that direction. These next 3 slides compare Lincoln Way to other high-achieving school districts that have a comparable scope of academic and extracurricular offerings. We utilize Hinsdale, Crystal Lake, Downers Grove, Grays Lake, Palatine, Lindbergh Township, District 230, and Mean Township. On this first slide, college readiness is defined by the Illinois State Board of Education. This is not what we see from the college readiness standards from the SAT. We don't necessarily agree with the percentages, but this is good for comparison's sake. As you can see, we compare very well with those other high-achieving schools. The next is our graduation rate compared to those schools. As you can see, once again, our graduation rate is outstanding. This defines the determination of both our students and our staff. The final slide in this comparison is the operating expense per pupil. As you can see, Lincoln Way spends significantly less per student than other high schools that we are competitive academically and extracurricularly with. The last, enrollment projections. Enrollment is on a gradual decline. Estimates are 6,600 by year 2020. The district can efficiently and effectively operate 3 high schools as long as we have 6,000 students. I often get asked, what's going to happen with West? Are we going to continue to operate 3 high schools? The answer is, as long as there's 6,000 students, there's no discussion of anything other than 3. For a discussion of 4, we would have to be at 8,000 trending upward. But for now, we are very effective and efficient operating 3 outstanding Lincoln Way high schools. I will now turn things over to Mr. Kaufman to discuss district finance.
In the prior 7 fiscal years, the district had a $41.12 million cumulative deficit in spending. In fiscal year 17, the district achieved a surplus of $4.81 million. $2.9 million was from normal operations, and $1.9 million was from land sales. The district is on track to achieve a total surplus of $6.8 million this year, including land sale proceeds of $4.5 million. As evidence from this chart, the difficult decisions the district have made are putting the district back on the road to financial recovery. Multiple years of deficit spending has resulted in the district hitting a low point ending fund balance of $8.1 million fiscal year 16. At the same time, the operating ending fund balance was negative $5.2 million. The state of Illinois ranks school districts on 5 key financial indicators and assigns the district a financial profile score of 1 to 4, 4 being the highest ranking. These rankings are financial recognition, review, early warning, and watch. This chart graphs the district's last 15 years of financial profile scores, in which the district has gone from review status to financial watch status. By the end of fiscal year 18, the district may be off of the financial watch list as it moves into early warning. Another way to measure the district's financial health is by its operating fund balance as compared to current operating fund expenditures, or in other words, fund balance to expenditure ratio. The Board of Education has set a goal to achieve a 33% fund balance to expenditure ratio. By achieving this goal, the district will increase its financial health, bond rating, and eliminate the need for cash flow borrowing. As this chart shows, in fiscal year 16, the operating fund balance to expenditure ratio was actually negative 5.96%. To achieve this board goal of 33%, the board has adopted and implemented a plan that requires the district to run a 3% operating surplus each year. By doing this, we will achieve this goal of 33% fund balance by 2028. As part of the long-range strategic plan, the Board of Education and Administration set several operational and fiscal financial goals. I would like to quickly update you on the status of each of these goals. The 10-year capital improvement plan has been finished, has been presented to the Board of Education, and is being monitored and implemented. Administration is currently working on school security enhancement plans. The Board of Education has adopted and implemented a plan to restore the fund balance, as I just mentioned. The district did hold a financial forum to discuss revenue enhancement, and administration is following up on several of these ideas. The 5-year financial forecast was developed and presented to the Board of Education and is continually being updated. Administration continues to monitor internal control policies and is working on developing a best practice procedure manual as recommended by our auditors. And finally, the annual budget planning calendar has been created and will be followed during the development of the fiscal year 2019 budget. Dr. Fury.
Good evening. The area of curriculum and instruction at Lincoln Way aims to serve the needs and provide opportunities for the success of all our students. As Dr. Tingley stated earlier in the presentation, our advanced placement numbers at Lincoln Way continue to grow, including the number of students taking advanced coursework at every grade level. As you can see, just last year in 2017, approximately 1/3 of our sophomores, half of our juniors, and 2/3 of our seniors were all enrolled in college-level courses while at Lincoln Way. What this means is that for every student who scored a 3, 4, or 5 on that AP course exam in May, or took one of our dual credit courses that we offer through Joliet Junior College, these students are saving approximately $1,600 per college course, and I think we all know that's a pretty conservative number. This totals nearly $5 million in tuition savings earned just by our class of 2017 students just last year. And our AP program continues to grow, nearly doubling the number of students and the number of courses and exams those students are taking in just 2 years. This is in part due to the fact that we now offer 34 of the 38 possible AP courses available through College Board. Just this year, we added AP Computer Science Principles, Chinese Language and Literature, and we presently have a team of teacher leaders researching the possibility of bringing AP Capstone to Lincoln Way. And starting next school year, AP Human Geography will be offered as our very first freshman AP option. In the 2018-2019 school year, freshman students will have the option to take World History and Geography Honors, a course designed to prepare students for the AP Human Geography exam in May. This will be the perfect on-ramp for many students who are interested in our AP courses. Also new for 2018-19 in social science will be the revision of Western civilization to include the rest of the world. A few other significant curricular changes include the English department's shift from a literature-based to more of a skills-based curriculum, with even more evidence-based reading and writing, and an increase in non-fiction. Our freshman reading course continues to serve as the foundation for all academic learning at Lincoln Way, and new this year was the addition of a career research unit to help guide students towards a career pathway, and their elective selection over the next 3 years towards that path. In line with career exploration, STEM is alive and thriving at Lincoln Way. Our science department's shift to next generation science standards has produced an inquiry-based interactive curriculum. New for this year in science is our environmental biology course, an opportunity to experience biology from a hands-on ecological perspective. Our new math curriculum is in its 3rd year of implementation. And new for next year are the 4th-year math options, including Introduction to College Math, 3 calculus options, as well as AP Statistics and AP Computer Science. STEM isn't always just for our college-bound students, though, as our Career and Tech department offers courses with opportunities for apprenticeships, internships, and certifications. Our welding courses, for example, continue to lead the way in local and national competitions. And our newest course, Entrepreneurship, offers University of Iowa dual credit. Also new to Career and Tech this year was the addition of Project Lead the Way. We are now offering Introduction to Engineering, and for next year, the 2nd level course, Engineering Principles. Lincoln Way prides itself on being a district that serves all levels of students, including our at-risk students through our alternative education program, Educational Options, which has been instrumental in the graduation rate increases over the last few years. For our students with special needs who need to continue with us until their 22nd birthday, our transition program continues to provide opportunities for these students to develop lifelong skills. This year, the Foundation has provided the transition program with a grant to update and redesign the workspace for these adult students. And to conclude, not only does curriculum and instruction focus on the academic needs of our students, but also the social-emotional needs as well. With the rise of stress and anxiety among our students, we have focused our professional development efforts with our teachers, as well as our ASSET program with our students, to increase awareness and resiliency strategies for the wellness and social-emotional needs of all our students. And now I will turn it over to Brian Murphy with Assessment and Technology.
Good evening. So last year, the state of Illinois contracted with College Board to provide the state with standardized testing for all juniors. The spring of 2017 was the first time that all Lincoln Way juniors took the standardized test. This spring, our current juniors will also take that same SAT test. That date is April 10th, 2018. This past fall, as Dr. Tingley indicated, all of our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors took a version of this SAT suite. The suite of assessments will allow us to track the growth of our students from their freshman year all the way through the SAT, their junior year. From beginning to end, our students will take 5 assessments. They'll take the PSAT 8 during their 8th grade and 9th grade year. They'll take the NMSQT during their 10th and 11th grade year. And during the spring of their 11th grade year, they'll take the SAT. Why the SAT? The SAT was selected by Illinois for accountability. It's the mandated test for all high school districts. Here's what we know. It's a free college entrance exam. All colleges accept either the ACT or the SAT. We will continue to prepare our students for both the ACT and the SAT. And again, test date is April 10, 2018. It's only 11 weeks away. Our teachers are helping our students prepare for the SAT on a daily basis using both online and classroom resources. So it's a different language. Many of us in this room tonight never took the SAT. So it's difficult to answer what is a good SAT score and how does that compare to the ACT. This chart illustrates a comparison between the ACT and the SAT. I've highlighted just the round numbers to kind of get an idea of how they might compare. When we look at the chart that's up on the screen here, we notice like a 25 on the ACT is equivalent to a 1200, and so on and so forth. It's important for us to kind of learn the new language. So what does it mean? Here are 3 schools which a number of our students attend, and minimum scores for both the ACT and SAT for consideration to admission to these universities. So if we take a look at the Illinois State University ACT score of 21 with a minimum score for the SAT of about 1100. For Bradley University, a 25 on the ACT and a 1200 on the SAT. And for the University of Illinois, a 27 on the ACT and about a 1300 on the SAT. So when our students are asking, what is an 1100, what's a 1200, what's a 1300? By understanding what numbers it takes for us to get into these universities, we can accurately help our students and guide their decision making and what they need to do. So, here are some results from this fall's latest assessments of the SAT suite for each of our classes. We're going to continue to monitor the growth of our students from year to year. But what's interesting here is when we look at our class of 2021, it's our current freshman, and that's over there on the far left. We look at how they performed on the PSAT 8. We look at how they performed on the PSAT 9. We look at the growth that's occurred between the 8th grade and that 9th grade year. We compare that to the growth that has occurred at the state. And what we notice is that the state actually had a very, very slight decline, while the district, our students are continuing to grow. We're going to continue to watch the growth of all of our students as they grow from year to year. What's also very exciting is as we look at every assessment that was taken, our students have outscored the state in every area. Switching gears, let's move on to a little technology. Technology. Every classroom has the ability to connect to our network wirelessly. Each access point that we have in all of our classrooms can handle up to 90 devices. And when you think about students in our classroom today, it's not uncommon for a student to have 2, maybe 3 devices at any point in time. Their phone, a tablet, or a laptop. We monitor the access points frequently to ensure as much of a seamless transition from classroom to classroom as possible. During the school year, we also doubled our bandwidth. We continue to monitor our bandwidth on a daily basis, and to date, we have yet to exceed that maximum bandwidth of 1 gigabyte. Providing our staff and students with a smooth network has allowed our teachers to think outside of their classroom and incorporate many sources that were not yet reachable just a few years ago. So what else has changed? Over the past year, a group of teachers had the opportunity to evaluate many different platforms regarding technology. We decided that staying with the Microsoft suite was in the best interest of our district. So, we've implemented Office 365 and in our district. It's a cloud-based solution from Microsoft. One of the first things that we did when we put this in place was to provide an email account and an online account for all of our staff and students. To date, approximately 5,000 to 7,000 students have accessed their account and access it on a regular basis. This has allowed us to improve upon our communications with our students. What other key benefits are the 1 terabyte of storage that's provided in the OneDrive, 5 free downloads of the Office suite, and these benefits will stay with the student throughout their time here at Lincoln and up to July 1st after their graduation. This year, we've been fortunate enough to replace all of our laptops for our teaching staff. The older laptops average about 7 years old. For the students, we've added 21 classroom sets of tablets, 7 in each building, impacting nearly every curricular area. All said, that's about 700 laptops impacting nearly 2,500 students on a daily basis. Of those 21 classroom sets, 10 of them were provided through the Lincoln Way Foundation. We're extremely grateful for the generous donation and their partnership. With these classroom cards, we have 29 teachers working on how one-to-one would look if we decided to head in that direction. As this year and next year progresses, we will continue to evaluate the value of technology in the classroom to determine the future of technology in our district. With that, I turn it back to Dr. Tim.
Final couple slides, we're going to talk about opportunities for our students. Our involvement this past year was over 80% in terms of extracurricular activities or sports. 80% of our students participate in at least one extracurricular activity. We know it's important for them to stay involved. That helps with their success in their studies. On the football front, as we all know, we finished the regular season with a 24-3 record. 2 of our Lincoln Way losses were to one another, over 1 defeat outside of our district in the regular season. Both West and Central made it to the quarterfinals. They were 1 game away from playing one another in a semifinal contest, and East completed the year as undefeated 8A state champion. Our Lincoln Way East cheer team this past February won a state championship, and they're looking to defend that state championship this next month. Our marching band has been selected to participate in the 2019 Tournament of Roses Parade in Pasadena, California. This district has faced significant challenges over the last few years, but there have also been tremendous accomplishments during that time. A couple of times a year, I remind our staff that our success will not be measured by our finances, but the opportunities we provide and the accomplishments of our students. This district continues to be successful. I would like to thank the board for focusing on moving this district forward. I would like to thank the Lincoln Way staff for their dedication to our students. We are fortunate to live in a community that has very high expectations. We are also fortunate to live in a community where students take advantage of the opportunities that they are provided. Thank you for coming out this evening, and this concludes our presentation.
We also appreciate your feedback and your participation. It is always welcome. I know sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but trust me, your feedback and your participation, your thoughts, your concerns, and your ideas are very welcome. Because if there's one thing that this board shares in common is that we appreciate this is our district, and we all are part of it. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion, second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.